Hi again and welcome to Basic Tips You Must Know in Data Analysis. Today we're going to be deep diving into SQL. We're going to understand some basic tips and syntaxes and statements in SQL and also carry out practices in SQL itself. Now let's get into the video. So basically SQL stands for Structured Query Language. It is a programming language that is primarily used to communicate with databases. A database stores information and data, which often with the help of SQL, we can clean that data, analyze that data, and modify that data. So we can also perform basic functions in SQL, such as selecting of data, filtering data, sorting data, removing duplicates, joining multiple data together, and so much more. Now, there are some very important SQL functions which are mandatory for every data analyst to know. Select statement, from statement, and the where clause. Now let's start with the select statement. Select statement is used to fetch data from a database. This data is amiably represented in form of table or in a tabular format. From the slides, we can see the representation of the select statement in SQL. Usually the select statement could go with a wildcard, which is a star, a distinct keyword, or the column name from the particular table in the database you want to extract or you want to fetch or return in our output. Now, it is also important to note that SQL functions are case sensitive. So they either are written in uppercase or lowercase. So it is advisable that you either write out your statements in capital letters or in capital letters all true or in small letters all true. The select statement helps us fetch data from the database. From statement, on the other hand, help us fetch a particular data or table of interest from the rest of the table in the database. The from statement is very important because it gives us clarity on what particular table we want to show in our database, in our output rather. Lastly, the where clause. Clause is used to specify a condition which, if fulfilled, will bring out an output. From the above PowerPoint, we can actually see the format at which our statements are going to be arranged. Now let's dive into SQL and actually practice this. Now for this demonstration, I am going to be using PostgreSQL. As you can see, this is the PostgreSQL interface. But since this is just a practice video, I will not really be explaining the interface. I will be dropping another video with how to download Postgres and other SQL into your computer. Now, as you can see, these are the tables we're going to be working with: the customers table, product table, and the sales table. Now, let's try and use all our statements together. First off, we're going to write out our select statement and add our wildcard. Then after that, we're going to come underneath it and write our from statement with the table we want to get data from. And this table is the customers table. If we click F5 or just click the play button, we can see all of the tables within the customer table. We can see customer ID, name, segment, age, city, and so on and so forth. Wondering, this wildcard, what does it do? Outputs an entire table without withholding anything. The next, the from customer is just getting every single thing in the customer table and is showing to us as an output. Now let's add our distinct to it. Now we can see the total amount of rows is 793, and when we apply our distinct, we see that the amount of rows are still 73, which means we don't have any duplicates in this particular table from our database. And just like that, we have removed duplicates from our data. Isn't this easier than how we did it in Excel? Now let's try getting just one table, for instance the customer name of the entire table. If I want to do that, I would select just customer name, and then we'll have to put this customer name in parentheses because it is a string. Now we're going to write our customer name, and after customer name is written out, we're going to also add from customer, because it is this particular data is still from the customers table. So I'm just going to copy it and then just add it, and I think with that we're just going to run our script and let's see the output it will give us. And wow, as you can see, it only gave us customer name. Now, I don't know about you, but this is really cool, because with just 2 lines of code, we have been able to remove all of those bulky data and then just get only a particular column. Now, we can easily get back those our data again by just running the first one. Easy, right? So to take note, I forgot to add this last time. Always add a semicolon after a script. It helps end the script so it will be easier to run your files, or you can just select that particular script you want to run and then move forward. Now, we can also add multiple column names so that we can have, in case maybe we want something like the column name, age, segment, and country or something like that, we can have all those columns represented instead of the entire table in the database. So as you can see right now, to add different columns tables together, we will just use a comma, and then with that, boom, we have the column, the customer's name, the segment, age, and country represented. Now, there are some icons at the top of our output. We can copy this table and paste it on Excel or a notepad. Also save the file. We can create some unique visualizations, and to be honest, SQL is looking really fun, man. Alright, so let's run our very first script to get our entire day. Okay, now we've done that. And now, for this last time, we're going to add a where clause. What we're going to do is we're going to add a condition that when this condition is approved or is true or it's satisfied, a particular information will be given to us. So let's say, for instance, I want to just get let's say the customer name, age, and some other necessary information of just one customer, and I only have his ID. I don't have his name or anything, but I just want to get it from my database. How am I going to do this? First things first, let's select the actual column we need to see from that particular other ID. Say I want to just look for the customer name, age, and country. So very first thing, I'm going to write out my column names, and after that I am going to select from, obviously, the customers table. Since we're dealing with the customer table, I'm going to introduce a where clause, and then I will say if the customer ID it satisfies, if it's that particular customer ID that you see, bring out the customer name of that customer ID, bring out the age of that customer ID and country. I'm going to, as you can see here, I'm copying the particular customer ID or a particular customer ID. So when we output our code, we can see, the customer name, the age, and then the country of that particular customer. Isn't that so amazing? Remember, I said you can copy this, you can send it to anybody else you want to. It's that simple. Now, let's try something different. Let's try to maybe find for the segment, add the segment, and just you can play with this. You can add some other few things. You can add other people and more conditions to just try and get our final answer. In subsequent videos, I'll be dropping links and also the database like how I usually do, but this is just an introduction into SQL. So I'm just going to be showing you virtually, and then afterwards I will go straight into explaining how you can install different SQLs and different means so that it will be much more nice and easier for you. This is the last practice that I ventured into. I decided to let's try and get an output of just the name, a customer name, the segment, age, and country for people between the age of 19 and 59, because remember, if it's less than 60, it will not reach 60. So this is at once the total number of people between the ages of 80 and 59, sorry. And with that, we've come to the end of our very first SQL video. We really want to still appreciate every single person that shares, likes, and comment. Do well to subscribe, and see you in subsequent video in SQL. Bye.